A worker is using an abrasive cutoff saw beneath a truck bed. His seating an unsecured plastic bucket is a severe safety violation. While cutting, the worker shifts. The unstable bucket slides, causing an immediate loss of balance and proper control over the tool. In that instant of disorientation, the spinning saw jams and kicks back violently. It launches directly toward the worker's face. Fortunately, his face shield provides the crucial defense, intercepting the machine. What was the true cause of this near miss? Was it the lack of stable footing or the cutting technique that caused the saw to kick back? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. This sequence shows the terrifying speed at which natural instability can turn fatal. Never underestimate the power of shifting earth and uncontrolled forces. On a hazardous mountain road near heavy machinery, a worker stands dangerously close to an active landslide area. Even as small rocks continuously tumble, this severe risk is ignored. Then, without warning, the entire slope fails. Thousands of pounds of rock and soil rush down in a sudden, violent surge. The person standing nearby has less than a second to react before being overwhelmed by the flow of debris. The lesson here is absolute. When working near steep grades or excavation sites, safety distances are mandatory. Active danger zones do not allow for observers. Respect the ground you stand on. Physics is the only rule that matters. A classic example of complacency turning a routine walk into a severe fall hazard. Inside any workshop, open pits demand absolute respect. In a tire repair shop, a worker is casually walking across the floor while carrying a plastic container. He moves directly across the maintenance pit, an open, deep trench designed for vehicle service. Despite the obvious hazard, the pit lacks any safety cover or barrier. Focused on his destination, the worker fails to register the edge of the opening. In a split second, he disappears into the void, crashing onto the hard floor below. Who holds the greater responsibility for this accident? The management for failing to secure the pit, or the worker for choosing to walk across an obvious hazard? Share your perspective below. This is a clear violation of safe workspace design. Walkways must be clearly separated from open dangers. When covers are not in use, barriers are mandatory. The hazard here is simple. If a pit is open, it should not be a path. A sudden flash of fire shows how quickly common industrial dust can become a catastrophic explosive hazard. Even routine tasks demand continuous vigilance. Two workers are operating a machine in a facility with heavy wood dust concentration. While processing the material, the environment appears normal, but fine wood particles are highly flammable. Without warning, a spark, perhaps from friction or a foreign object, ignites the airborne dust. The result is a violent flash fire that instantly engulfs the machine and the workers, demonstrating the explosive power of uncontrolled particulates. The lesson here is profound. Effective dust collection and ventilation are non-negotiable. Fine particles turn the air itself into a fuel source. If you see excessive buildup, stop the operation immediately. Environmental control is your primary defense against sudden ignition. This footage captures the terrifying moment when two distinct modes of transport collide at high velocity. The sanctity of the active runway is violated, resulting in instant disaster. At an international airport, a commercial airliner is accelerating for takeoff, reaching maximum speed. Simultaneously, a maintenance or emergency vehicle enters the active runway, a violation known as a runway incursion. The aircraft is unable to stop. In a violent collision, the high-speed jet strikes the ground vehicle with immense force. The impact causes catastrophic damage to the wing structure, instantly rupturing fuel tanks and triggering a massive fire across the airframe. The hazard here is unprecedented. The active runway is a sacred space. No unauthorized vehicle or personnel should ever be present during aircraft operations. Air traffic control and ground crews must maintain absolute separation. This incident underscores that a simple operational mistake can challenge the laws of physics with devastating consequences, which is more effective in preventing these runway incursions. Technology like sensors and radar, or strict adherence to human procedures. Share your perspective in the comments. It's a demanding task in a tight space. One worker is positioned in the trench, using leverage to pull a heavy, long vertical rod free from the ground. Other team members are waiting above. This operation is visibly tense, demanding precise control and a clear safety perimeter. As the first worker successfully dislodges the base of the rod, the accumulated tension is instantly released. The heavy metal piece swings uncontrollably to the side, completely ignoring the planned trajectory. A worker standing too close to the edge of the pit, well within the arc of the swing, is immediately struck by the full force of the rod. He is thrown off balance and falls to the ground. The failure here lies in two critical areas: insufficient safety distance and lack of controlled release. Safety demands control, especially when dealing with objects under tension. Always treat a pulled or suspended load as a hazard, even at ground level. The perimeter must be clear of all personnel until the object is fully stable. Ignoring the swing radius of a heavy flexible element is a direct path to a serious incident. The only safe approach is a strict exclusion zone. In a busy urban area, a crane operation is underway to lift a long metal pole. Without warning, the load loses stability and crashes down onto a passing pedestrian. The scene is a high-traffic city street, where standard traffic and foot movements continue near an active lifting zone. A large utility pole is being hoisted by a truck-mounted crane. Safety protocols are clearly inadequate. There is no perimeter established to exclude the public from the hazardous area. A pedestrian walks directly beneath the suspended pole, unaware of the immediate danger above. Suddenly, the long, heavy load slips or swings free from its rigging. The pole falls rapidly, striking the unsuspecting person with significant force and simultaneously impacting the parked vehicle beside him. Now we want to hear from you. In this scenario, who carries the most responsibility for the incident? The crane operator for moving the load, or the site supervisor for failing to secure the perimeter? Let us know in the comments below. The footage captures a typical loading bay, with a truck backed up for unloading. The task at hand is to move a large shrink-wrapped pallet, clearly dense and extremely heavy, off the truck bed and onto the floor. Instead of using a motorized forklift, the team relies on a standard hand pallet jack, designed for smaller, lighter loads. Two workers combine their effort, bracing against the weight. They begin to push the pallet toward the edge of the trailer. As the center of gravity shifts past the threshold, the weight becomes unmanageable. The pallet accelerates suddenly. The force instantly overcomes the worker's grip. The initial worker is thrown down onto the ground by the speed and momentum of the falling load. The heavy pallet comes down directly on the worker's foot and leg area, resulting in a crushing injury. His colleague manages to step aside, witnessing the catastrophic failure caused by a procedural error. This incident is a textbook case of exceeding equipment limits and neglecting physics. A hand pallet truck is not designed to safely handle loads of this magnitude, especially across a gap or transition point. The safety lesson is non-negotiable. Always match the tool to the task. If the equipment strains under the weight, it means the wrong equipment is being used. Underestimating the momentum and mass of a heavy load turns a routine task into a risk of severe, localized injury. Proper planning requires mechanical assistance for extreme weights. The setting is a hazardous cleanup zone following a storm. The team is utilizing a large truck-mounted crane, with the boom extended high into the canopy. The challenge here is the immense, potentially unpredictable weight of the tree, which is long and likely saturated with moisture. The crane operator begins the hoist, slowly lifting the massive timber clear of the ground. Tension builds rapidly on the hoisting mechanism and the rigging chains. For a few seconds, the lift seems manageable, but the immense stress placed on the lifting gear proves too much. Suddenly, one of the primary lifting chains or slings snaps under the load. The tree instantly loses its controlled path and drops violently back toward the ground, tearing through the remaining branches and debris below. The crane, though momentarily strained, successfully remains upright and stable, a clear indication that the failure was in the rigging, not the crane's base capacity. This incident is a prime example of catastrophic equipment failure due to inadequate or compromised rigging. Now we want to hear from you. When a rigging component fails, is the primary fault on the crew for not inspecting the chain, or on the lift supervisor for using insufficient material for the calculated load? Share your insights below. It is late evening in an urban area where construction is underway. An excavator operates in the middle of the road, its massive body dominating the space. Citizens unaware of the extreme danger are forced to navigate the tight space around the machine. A civilian trying to pass quickly through the restricted zone decides to cross directly behind the active excavator's cab. This decision places the individual squarely in the operator's complete blind spot, inside the machine's absolute minimum safe zone perimeter. They assume the machine will remain stationary for their brief passage. Without any warning, the operator rotates the machine's upper structure sharply to the left. The unsuspecting individual is instantly caught by the swinging body. The massive force of the excavator's rotation and its fixed track base acts as a giant pinch point, demonstrating the catastrophic overlap between civil life and heavy machinery. Never assume an active construction site is a public path. Now, we want to hear from you. When a civilian enters an active machine's blind spot, where does the fault lie, with inadequate site security or the individual's reckless passage? Share your insights in the comments below. Now we want to hear from you. Which one of these accidents offered the most vital safety lesson? Share your observations and insights below to help others stay safe.